go during the week.
Got those set on top of lifetime kayaks.
Yeah, those are good.
Paddle board. I like those better.
We actually have paddle boards, so,
Or in December, is it?
or December.
We could just merge it kind of. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
I would zoom all
I
over.
never.
yeah.
Been parking on the car at Tiger Sunday afternoon.
Incredible.
They were parking over, you know, when I was clear up the old highway, you know, up to the bridge.
Okay.
No tickets?
No, sure.
Okay, good.
Hey, Eric. Hi, man.
I left from Laramie this morning.
Oh. Well, we're here, so
No, that's like.
we'd like to welcome everybody to our Morgan City Council work meeting. July 22nd, 2025 already. So I'm gonna do a couple of things because there's some really important things to go through. So I'm gonna set my timer for like 12 minutes. And then we can, when it goes off, we'll know we need to move on to the next one. I'd like to kind of wrap it up at 6:55, so people can go drink a glass of water or visit the room. Okay, I'll start this. So item one. Item one, rezoning application from residential, single-family R18 to residential multifamily RM15. Zoning designation is 690 north, 700 east. So is everybody sort of read through that? Before, I've asked Ty to jump in but does the council members have any input on that before we do that? Okay, Ty?
Okay, so we'll probably just have a discussion. I think this first one is the Wardell's, the applicant, right? So it's right adjacent to their current multifamily property. And on two sides is already RM15. So it's directly contiguous to what's already RM15, and their project would be part of their current project. So right now there's a shed that's on both properties. That they've kind of had to work around, and this would just tie the other properties together and allow them to do that. But that said, with all the process changes, you probably don't need a reminder, and Gary can correct me if I'm wrong, but the planning commission still represents the code and the council represents the people. So you have a favorable recommendation, and they've had a public hearing, and you go through all that. But as council, you're not necessarily bound to feel, is it the right time, right place, that sort of thing. And so this one seems to fit the criteria. I wasn't at the planning commission, but a couple of you were. So just to start the discussion, I think that's just my intro, and Jake's here to also answer any of your questions, but probably start with council discussion first. In context of tonight's agenda, there are two rezone applications. This one has the two sides of it that's contiguous with RM15, and the other one is offset. So both of them are called for in the general plan. As far as medium density, the general plan says we're transitioning to medium density, but the other project is kind of standalone and surrounded by single family properties. This one, it will be adjacent. Yeah, you can see that
Who's the
property.
applicant on the other piece?
Other applicant, I think, is
Corey
Adams,
On the little one.
Corey on.
ACS Construction.
And this one is Wardell's.
Yeah, this one's Wardell's and the other one's,
This one's about what, 2/3 of an acre?
yeah, this one's larger than
The other
the,
one is just slightly over a quarter, well, it's what, 0.26 of an acre, about a quarter of an acre?
Yep.
I can speak to what happened at planning the other night for just a moment. Yeah, there was quite a lot of discussion amongst the planning commission on both of these rezones. Is it okay to say that neither one were unanimous by the planning commission? There was some discussion on it. But it was, the vote was favorable, and they made a recommendation to us as a city council. That first piece, the Wardell property I went and looked at these two pieces the other day. I was curious about it after planning meeting the other night. This first piece already has existing structures on it. And right up on top of that is our, what would you call it, our basin, our stormwater basin sits right on the top of this property. And then below it towards 700 East, there's a home and there's some other structures. It looks to me like.
There you go, right there.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's it right there. And like I said, it's and I think I'm not sure if I recall how many units they were talking about. It's going to be dictated on the piece of property itself. But anyway, and then, well, I guess I won't jump to the other one right now. But there was something the other night that was said that I'd like to bring up in this meeting, and I'm going to defer to Gary on this because I had a little bit of an education on this myself. So Gary, would you once again explain, you gave a very good explanation of spot zoning the other night that I thought was really good, that I was not really quite aware of myself. So can you fill us in on that one more time?
Sure. A lot of people, when they think of spot zoning, think of a zone or a rezone in an area where it's surrounded by other types of zoning. And there's no connection, doesn't seem like there's any connection to.
Like an island.
Yeah, like an island. And, I mean, there can be little islands, there can be large islands, whatever else. And they look to the zoning and they describe that as spot zoning, but really what spot zoning is this. Spot zoning is meant to be prevented in as much as it doesn't assist in accomplishing what's in your master plan. And you can have a spot that may be a couple of blocks from an area that may be the same zoning. And a lot of planning commissions and that type of thing look at that and say, oh, that's spot zoning because it's, doesn't have anything around it it's not connected to something that is the same. But that's not what spot zoning is. What spot zoning is it's zoning that is contrary to your master plan. It means that it's not helping you accomplish what your master plan is saying that you should accomplish. So there's nothing wrong with your zoning a piece of property that's not connected to another piece of property with the same zone. That's not spot zoning. What spot zoning is when it's inconsistent with that plan. For example, if you were to take in the middle of a single family residential area, and you were to take an area that all of a sudden was high density and place it, right in the middle of a single family residential zone, what you'd look to is you'd look to your general plan to see whether or not that enhances what you're trying to accomplish through your general plan, or whether it is not consistent with what you're trying to accomplish. And if it's not consistent, you'd be spot zoning. You'd be zoning something so different from the surrounding uses and what you want those surrounding uses to be in the future, that you probably would have an obligation to turn that down as a city council. Your strongest rational basis for a zoning decision is your general plan. When they say that all in legislative acts, all you need is to have a rational basis for making the decisions you do. That's true, but your rational basis ought to be based on sound zoning principles like access, like what are the surrounding uses like those types of things. But the strongest reason for rezoning or not rezoning is your general plan. And so that's what spot zoning is. It doesn't mean that you've got to a zone in the middle of something surrounded by another type of zoning and there's no connection, it means that this doesn't help your general plan at all. It's contrary to your general plan. And it's more intense than what your general plan envisions for that area. So does that help? Is that,
Yeah, because I think there was, I mean, at least, Mayor, maybe you could add something to this. I think there was some confusion as to what spot zoning really was on behalf of the planning commission, so. I think they looked at this and considered this some spot zoning, but that's apparently not the case, so.
that's common, pretty
And,
common.
and Gary's explanation changed the opinion of some of the members of the planning commission. And they admitted that in the meeting, that
Notice in
explanation.
your report, Jake, you mentioned similarly consistent with the general plan and no objections in part because of that.
Yeah. And, you look at the general plan, you look at zoning, and you also look at land uses. We're talking residential and residential. If we were trying to put industrial in there or really mix things up, that just was not cohesive, then that kind of that spot zoning flag would go up.
Tony, any other negatives? You said that it wasn't unanimous or clear cut.
I think this one ended up being I
Okay.
think a 4 in favor.
Yeah, I think it was
one against.
4-1.
And the,
Maybe
I'm
density
not-
being an issue.
well, I'm not sure how we should end. The one that voted against it lives in very, very fairly close proximity to this project. So, yeah, I'm not, don't know if that had anything to
What
do
about
with it.
public input?
Everybody was here for the chickens.
Okay, so
I must jump in. I've received a lot of public input
on these changes?
on these two,
But not in the pub, but not in
but
the.
not in a meeting.
Yeah.
Not officially.
And the neighbor.
So what were they most, well, to receive input is generally in disfavor. What were some of
Well,
the
it's
concerns?
similar to what we experienced with next to Red Rock. Except for it was more upbeat, not upbeat, but they weren't ready to sue the city and
We didn't-
those kinds of things. So out of the conversations I've had, and it's not with one or two, there's a few. The history along 700 East is not to bring that down. There's some places, your mother-in-law has duplex on 600 East. We have the duplex on the corner of 700 East, and then we have the apartments across from that, which probably are 50 to 60 plus years.
Probably at least.
So the thing that is hard on this one for, whoops.
You're done.
Discussion's over.
I'm done.
Carry on.
The thing that's hard for a lot of people on this one is bringing it right down to 700 East. And 700 East, I live on 700 East and it's sort of busy. And then with all the construction and everything, there are just tons of trucks, big trucks rolling by there. Speed limit 35, and if we took a radar, it's probably 55 that people speed by there, but. So that was the comments I've got on this piece and then I was told that are we setting a precedent as we move forward in the future? That somebody can just come and say, I want to change this zone.
At the same time, it seems to me to be a little bit of a one-off in that 700 East is pretty much in that area filled up. I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of other similar requests out there for 700 East.
There's another one we're talking about.
Right,
tonight.
we've got those two, but
Mhm.
they seem to be one-off.
You want
to
the
me.
general plan?
Yeah, can you pull up?
I got it in here,
Wholesale.
Can I address
right there.
the issue that you just addressed? Because I heard that a lot in the planning commission. This sets a precedent. Then we're gonna have to rezone the next one the same way, that type of thing. That never happens in zoning. Your legislative acts are all independent of each other, and you could rezone one parcel something and the one right next to it something different. And you would be just as right in doing that as long as it's rationally based. And as long as you have your zoning reasons for doing it. And so it's never, precedent is never considered when it comes to your zoning decisions
Legal sense.
in a legal sense, yeah.
And I want to be kind of careful and quiet about it because it is in my neighborhood. And I don't want to act like I'm against it. I have my own personal opinion, but I'm trying to keep that out of the mayor's opinion.
If I could say a couple things on it, it does go right on to 700 East, so it's not putting traffic on a local street. That's a good thing. In terms of now, the future, the owner could sit on it, forever. They could not develop it with the rezone, or they could develop. They do have a project next door, so that's where the conversation started. It does actually give them a better project because they would have the townhomes facing Jenny Lane, and then the garages behind and their layout. Now, we don't have a guarantee that they would do that, but we would have, if they came in with the site plan, I could use a little bit of leverage and be like, you showed me this, I want you to really go look at that and see if it works. And in terms of housing, it's nice that it's more of an infill and not taking up farmland. We're losing one home and gaining approximately 5 or 6, you could say. So that part of it is nice in terms of the impact, and all the utilities are there.
And I did want to just mention one other thing, and that is rentals are not affordable housing. Sometimes it's been presented that we want it to be more affordable for people, but a rental does not include affordable housing.
Not here.
Okay, let's move to item number 2.
Okay, this one is very similar. I got a map right here. And this relates to Gary's conversation on the spot zoning, just down the street to the east. This is the one we were just looking at right here. And then right here, the city owns a stormwater basin right here. And then this is a vacant property that's been vacant until the old Morgan School was there. And because it's only a quarter of an acre, our zoning, the RM7 or RM15 would only allow up to 2 units on it. So essentially you're, looking at a twin home or duplex or something like that.
Any community input on that one, Steve?
Well, I just have a couple of questions on it. It says on number 4 that staff doesn't see significant impacts with the rezone and therefore has no objection to the rezone. What is staff?
Myself doing a report, talking with Teresa, if anything else rolls in,
Surrey, whatever.
yeah.
Utilities are included in that, like the utilities would work.
And fine.
But they wouldn't, the ones I've talked to haven't been notified with the
That's because we
definition
don't
of
have,
that.
so we don't have we're only talking zoning right now, so it's mostly just the planner, but if we had a project, then you would have more staff input from the engineer and.
But even at the zoning, there could be a legal question that Jake could go to Gary, and now all of a sudden you've included 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
so
just Jake,
just, mhm.
depending on where the direction goes.
And Teresa, she's always involved in this, and she connects me to everybody.
But Dave, to your point, and correct me if I'm wrong, at the planning meeting the other night, both of these were a public hearing. And at the planning meeting, I don't think I don't know if there was any comments on these. Yeah, you probably, is there?
As far as
Public hearing comment.
As far as the public hearing.
everybody was chickens.
Everybody was chicken, so there was.
There- Chicken. Nice, very good. Funny. There were a couple comments on it, and they asked about the precedence issue. That was the one.
Yeah, from the planning committee.
From the public.
Was there?
It was
Was there, I apologize.
Boss, Mr. Boss.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I did.
But he was not here for that. He certainly wasn't. He says, I'm not here for this. But I do have a question. Does this raise precedent?
Okay, I stand corrected.
And,
I
and
didn't
he
think
wanted
it-
to have a little dialogue and we said, give us your comments and then we'll close the public hearing and discuss them.
I apologize. I didn't think there was any comments from the public,
It-
but you may be right on that one. So. yeah.
Insignificant.
This is basically the same spot on the master plan.
Yes.
Basically the same designation.
Everybody know Ray Dale Giles? Where she lives? Okay, that is Russ Summers' home,
Which one is that?
right next to the lot.
This one?
Yeah.
West, yeah. And Dan Summers, Russ's dad, made a promise to Ray Dale that she could live there as long as she lives. She's currently up in the nursing home and her son is occupying. But pretty sure from Russ's comments, which he's made to me, not recently, but prior, that as soon as Ray Dale dies, he's releasing the property, he's gonna sell it. And then that, with a duplex next to it, then it's gonna possibly could move the other way.
Be a multifamily also, and look at what's behind it, yeah.
And then Diane Giles, who lives next to that home, who's a saint, she made a comment that when that happens, I'll have to move because that would literally surround her. Well, at least 3 sides. So that was some of the concern of not just the residents, but the history of conversations that have been going on. And to me, this one makes less sense than the other one. And this one's a little farther away, but it's a 1/4 acre. Doesn't have any elevation problems as far as slope and that, but
This one's not sensitive land.
right.
There's a good photo right there looking at it.
Hmm.
This is the city property right here with the basin, so it's just beyond.
Next one over.
Yep. And then here it is from a different view. But yeah, other than the top, there, I mean, it is flat.
I think where your arrow was, that's actually not that property.
It's
That's
probably the
out of
next
the
door.
lot.
But it did come to us with a recommendation from the planning commission. Yeah, it was a 3-2 vote on that one, so, as I recall. So,
Is it 3-2 or 1 change? I can't remember.
no, I think it ended up being
3-2.
3-2.
Okay. Is there any other?
Is that a question for Gary on that? So this is the first time I think we've had a split decision from, or recommendation from a planning commission. And if they're representing code, would we interpret that as it's not, there's a couple of people on planning commission that don't feel like this fits the ordinance, or is just their opinion that we don't want it? Maybe they're outside of purview a little bit.
And that's a good question. When we say the planning commission represents the code, we used to be talking about their administrative decisions, which is essentially they still have, which are subdivisions. But when it comes to legislative decisions, the planning commission has one obligation, and that is to look at whether or not this is consistent with the general plan and to look at all the things that the general plan requires, which is access and, you know, is this the right spot for, and the right time to rezone this property, what it needs to be rezoned. But it's not like an administrative decision where you've got a code section that says something and 3 members are going for the code section or going against it, and the other 2 members are not. This is more of a rational basis type decision that the planning commission is referring to you and saying 3 out of 4 of us agree, or 3 out of 5 of us agree that this is consistent with the general plan and that this is the right time to make this decision. It's not like the administrative decision where they're just interpreting an ordinance. Does that make sense?
Wouldn't the administrative be a little more black and white though? I
Yes,
mean,
very
that's-
black and white.
And so, I mean, to Ty's point, if we have a division, Yeah, I guess you could argue that if we missed something, is there something that should be discussed further? Because either we're in compliance or we're not.
No, administrative, you need to be in compliance. Legislative, they can make a decision for any reason. that
We have
they-
two that are saying we're not in compliance.
Oh, no, this is an administrative decision that they're sending to you. This is entirely legislative, so administrative, no. Legislative, that's the second type of decision. Sorry, Dave. This is a legislative entirely. There is no administrative, looking at whether or not it meets the ordinance or not. This is entirely. The planning commissioner can just not feel that that's not the right spot for this.
Yeah, that's
So ours-
fact, is this the right place at the right moment, the right time and so.
Ours is a little more black and white, essentially.
No.
No.
Other way
ours is
around.
not. Versus, we could say all of our neighbors don't want this and.
Yeah, I
No,
wouldn't use that as your
we could say
reason.
Yes, what?
I wouldn't use that as your.
No,
reason. What
but-
I'd say is,
So
you can't do it by vote either, but you'd be saying that it's not consistent with the general plan, in my opinion. Or this isn't the right time for it. Maybe in the future, the area will all close in as multifamily, but right now is not the right time. Those are the types of things you're considering, and
So talk just a little bit, Gary. We say that the planning commission is there to defend the code, if you will, and that'd be administrative. But in this case, they're also there to recommend legislative. I'm not sure I understood that was part of their,
yeah,
part of what their.
it is, they're the recommending body for legislative acts.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's good to point out.
Yeah, and it's very broad. Their discretion is the same as yours when it comes to that. I've never seen a decision of city council in this state on a legislative issue overturned, reversed. There may be bias to the extent that it's so obvious that the court may say, take a look at this again. Looks like, there's one person that happened to have a financial interest in the property on the council, and that led that vote. Those types of things could come up, but you have very broad discussion on legislative decisions. And the planning commission, what is it defending on a legislative decision? Your general plan.
Okay.
Even if they disagree with the general plan, then the answer is go back and amend it. But you've got a brand new general plan. It's just, you just went through an incredible process to put that plan together. And so that would be hard to argue that the general plan's out of date.
In both of these cases, they're suggesting that it meets the general plan. but
That's-
it follows the general plan. That's what
And if
they-
I could say one thing about the general plan here, it's not that everything is a townhome or everything is a single family. It's actually kind of a medium density, smaller lots, single family, townhome kind of mixed in. And that is kind of the vision of the general plan, it's not all or one. So, and that's okay, on maps, things may look funny, but in the real world, townhomes next to single family is fine. Rarely is there crime or issues like that. But and I bring that up because that means there's a little bit of a range in there. It's not, the general plan doesn't call it out black and white either. There is, your legislative jurisdiction, how you want to look at that and interpret it.
Well,
So can I,
even in their own backyard, the townhomes that have gone up on the hill there, there's single family homes that are part of that development.
so the other night, when I left the meeting, and since that meeting, I was there and I realized there was some discussion, and I realized it wasn't unanimous, so I've been thinking about this. So where that's part of our new master plan, the general plan, I should say. I mean, what would give us, what would be ethical, correct to deny it if it's in our general plan area? I mean, what cause would we have not to approve it? Did that make sense? I mean,
It does, and two of the reasons that you might deny something, even though your general plan says that that it should be this way. The only two that I've seen are, there's a mistake in the general plan. That's one thing that I've seen. Or I guess three things. The area has changed since the general plan was drafted. And now it's so different that we really need to go back and re-examine it. And the third thing is timing. You know, we can see this all becoming multifamily, but not this fast. There's some steps that we can see need to be taken, you know, where it has to fill in a little bit.
Yeah.
And the area has to grow into the general plan. Those are the three things that really, you know, I've heard for a council going against its general plan.
So I have a comment and a question. The question first is because we're elected, where do we listen to the residents that are, say, objecting or for or whatever? Where do we come in on that? And the other thing is back at the conference of the Utah Leagues of Cities and Towns in St. George, I went into the mayor's meeting. 3 pretty good mayors. And I think one of them been there 20 years, another one was way up there also. All 3 of them had some time. But all 3 of them commented in that don't let developers decide how your city is. That's pretty much the theme that they had. And so my question is I think that anytime you can fall back on timing, say it might not be the right time for this. And then, well, I guess that's sort of my comment and my question.
So the answer to the first question is, should we listen to our constituents? I'm really glad Eric said what he did, because quite frankly, the only thing in zoning that you can't do is ask, and you know this because we talked about it.
Yeah.
How many of you are in favor of this? And, you know, everybody in the room, because that's really the only people you get to these hearings are people who hate it. You never get people who like it, love it. And then you can't go by vote of the people. But are you able to listen to what people have to say? And yes, you do. But what your job is to sift through what they're saying and make a determination of whether or not there's some good zoning points that they're making that can't be resolved at the subdivision level. A lot of these issues are solved at the subdivision level. Just because they get an area rezoned doesn't mean they're going to build, you know, X number of units. They're going to build whatever they're able to build. Traffic, utilities, you know, they may not be able to build as many units as what they would like to build. But anything that can't be resolved there, you can look at the things that people are saying and just we don't like it's not enough, or it's going to decrease our property values without any supporting documentation. Generally, that's not the case. Or it's going to kill our kids, you know, or the schools are going to be full. Those are things that you can't look at in making a zoning decision. But things that you can are, have you got access? Do you have?
There's, I think to help answer that question, you look at it and say, what's best for the community? Here's a handful of people that say it's not good for the community. Consider there's people out there that say it is. I've had people say to me, I'm glad we have townhomes because my grandchildren are close by. Well, and they couldn't afford a regular home. So there's a component out there, even though they may not have come to you and said, let's.
But
go
did
do
they
it."
buy the townhome or are they renting the townhome?
In 2 cases, buying them, and they wouldn't have otherwise enjoyed, if you will, home ownership without the townhome in Morgan City. I think the other thing that comes along with timing is, again, a one-off, or, you know, here's 2 units, here's 6. If the developer came along and said, I want to take, 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet of 700 East and put 40, 50 townhomes in there, yeah, maybe that timing isn't quite right. We've got 2 here and maybe 4 here or 6 here. is that doable? That's our decision.
And I'm trying to stay neutral. I am. Even though it probably doesn't sound that way. But
Another thing is, Mayor, if I could,
yes,
is that if your ordinance isn't doing what it needs to do, in other words, promoting individual home ownership. I know that's been one of the big issues up on the hill is, too many rentals now. You got tons of rentals. But we need to rewrite our ordinances so that it does promote, individual ownership of these units. Things like smaller lots, but individual homes, are a good thing to incorporate into your zoning so that, that's a choice that you have to be able to say, these need to be separate units. It's harder to rent separate units. It's more prone to be bought. So another thing is if you see a trend of people coming in and building rentals in your jurisdiction, you may want to take a look at your code and talk to Jake and see what's out there to.
Yeah,
Here's
we,
this
we
thing.
can require, individual plating, meaning, you can't require owner occupancy currently with the state code, but that may change. There's a lot of rumblings on that. But you can require plating. So meaning that if it's a townhome, they're each on their own plat and so that they can be sold that way. So you can certainly set it up that way. Anything related to ADU, we can do owner occupancy, but not right now with townhomes. But just requiring individual plating is like half the battle, because at that point, anybody could sell any unit to anyone.
okay, I don't know if this is good to say either, but in every rental in our ward, my wife's a Relief Society president, and in every rental in our ward, she takes food orders. The bishops asked for assistance on payments for cars or rent or electricity bill or whatever. So some of the comments that was made in there by a couple of our planning commission members was that it devalues our property. And so it's arguably, you could debate that. But the main thing I want to say is I'm just feeling that they're calling a rental affordable housing. That comment is made a lot. And I have two sons that are going to build 10 townhomes. So, I'm trying not to be partial. Am I for it? Well, I'll keep that to myself, but I just think that, and the comment was made that single family homes aren't selling. Every home that is started up on Jenny Lane, if it's a spec home, it's sold way before it's completed. Every one of them have sold thus far, and there's several. So there are probably parts in the city where that particularly has taken place, and we have a developer that made a big gamble with putting in several homes, single dwelling. So I'm not trying to persuade, I'm just kind of saying what's on my mind. And the way it looks, you'll have to put up with me for 4 more years.
Yay.
And I'm really, we had some comments, Tony and I, on the cemeteries, quite a few of them, when they were drying up.
Bird up.
Yeah, and it was hard to not listen to them and say,
Absolutely.
and it's hard not to listen to these. And I think you're right, Gary, not too many that are for things show up, except if it's chickens.
Right.
So,
Be assured.
so anyway, we got to move on. I asked Ro to come, especially on the chicken thing, because the heat's going to be on Ro.
Chicken man.
Chicken wrangler, chicken expert.
Jeffrey better not call me.
Hot dogs.
Oh.
So Ro and I had a pretty good discussion, and he made a lot of sense to me. So Ro, if you would kind of fill us in on, especially the size of the lot and the bigger lots and currently what?
So currently we've got, half acre, you can have chickens, basically. New proposal that everybody wants is smaller than half acre lots. They want chickens, whether it's 4 to 6, that's for you guys to decide. Some of the proposed ordinances that were, I think you did those, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did the
Yeah,
research on
right.
it.
So Jake wrote these up, and just some of my comments towards those. The first one would be roosters prohibited in all residential zones. We would have an issue with that because we currently have a whole bunch of half acre lots with chickens and roosters. It's probably not a good idea to change that and go to them and tell them that they got to get rid of their roosters now. So I think with the roosters being prohibited, I think it ought to be half acre less lots. The setbacks on the coops, perfect. 5 feet off of the side and the rear, 25 away from any dwelling. That's perfect. One comment I have with the coop size, 8 feet tall, great, 120 square feet. I think that should be half acre or smaller lots. And the only reason I say that is we have several that have 40 by 40 barns that have chickens in them. So, that might be a little difficult to deal with. The manure, the cleanup, I think we can just remove that because that would go under our nuisance ordinance rather than laying it out under the chicken ordinance. I mean, if your backyard stinks, I'm gonna come say something. I mean,
What if here we just reference the nuisance ordinance and we say should be regularly cleaned up? Just because this will be the section when somebody learns about,
right.
chicken management, they'll go here. And so
And that would be great.
as a reminder.
Cause I think it would just fall under our regular nuisance. The next one, prohibitions, roosters are not allowed. Like I said, I think that ought to be under half acre lots. Chickens not to be slaughtered in outdoors. If I'm gonna kill a chicken, I'm gonna kill it in my backyard. I don't,
How, was there discussion on how you do it if you're not doing it in your backyard?
One guy said he'd do it inside, but,
A side yard?
but that same,
inside the home.
but that same guy also said, if you don't want to see a chicken killed, don't look in my backyard. So I don't know how you could, like, guy kills a chicken and eats it for dinner. The neighbor complains about it. What are you gonna do?
Good point.
Why do you wonder, how do you? do
it's-
it?
it's-
It's a preferred way of doing it
Well,
then.
maybe we just remove that and let people watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't think you're gonna be able to enforce that one.
Okay.
Sure.
The next one, no commercial sales of eggs or chickens. Gary, correct me if I'm wrong. Commercial sale of eggs and chickens would be selling to grocery stores, restaurants, stuff like that. Where I think at one point we had an ordinance and I tried finding it, I can't. But agricultural items, grown, raised on your property, you can sell without a license or a permit.
So what our farm ordinance says is,
Why he's looking-
right here, conditional use permit for farm industry as set forth in this title. So according to this ordinance, if somebody wanted to do agriculture as a commercial interest, a business, then they would come for a conditional use. Hasn't happened least in
We
4 years.
currently, right now, have two businesses that do not have business license because they're growing their own stuff, selling it on their own property. And we stop them if they move to another property and sell it under a tent.
So the neighborhood kids selling their eggs to the neighbors is,
That's fine.
that'd be fine.
You cannot,
Came up, by the way, in the meeting.
That happens a lot.
you cannot force anyone under 18 to get a business license.
Yeah.
That's state code.
I'm telling you.
And this one bothered me a little bit too, because, what are you gonna do with your excess eggs if your family can't, consume them all? So, I mean, maybe I'm.
I'm waiting for the comment. We know what Jeffrey's gonna do with them.
Maybe I'm going back to my childhood, but we had chickens and we had excess eggs and we just sold them to the neighbors around town. I think somehow or another we need to allow that.
Yeah, I think I don't think we can stop that
So.
because there's loopholes in everything.
If we had a farmer's market, if somebody was growing their vegetables, can they go to a farmer's market to sell them
Absolutely.
without a permit?
Because it's an event and
Okay,
they would be part of that event.
okay.
Just like the fair. People can go and sell their stuff at the fair. It's an
The
event.
same under that category, or are they different because it's poultry?
So as long as it's not sold commercially, which would be to a grocery store, restaurant, something like that. Yeah, it falls under, it's an agricultural. So I don't know how you want to, I don't know if you want to just get rid of that or word it differently, but that's just another comment.
I think that one works, doesn't it? No commercial sales?
Just define commercial.
Yeah, you'd have to define commercial. Because people, if they see that, they're like, well, now I can't sell my eggs. Commercially
That
would
was our
be,
feeling at the meeting.
yeah, that's the feeling that everybody's. I mean, there's probably gonna be 200 people here tonight, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
And most of them are gonna be like, if I raise eggs, I'm gonna sell them. So I think the commercial sales needs to be defined.
Should we say two businesses? Because essentially that's the difference. You're selling to a business like a grocery store, or I'm selling to an individual. So if we just add the word business,
Could you
two
say that
businesses?
selling of eggs is like your kids selling Kool-Aid?
You could. I don't know how to word it, but commercially is grocery store to
business.
restaurant.
Well, so.
Because that falls in a completely different category where you gotta have a state license, you gotta have a health code license. They've gotta be tested.
Or what
FDA.
triggers a home occupation permit then? Maybe that's our definition.
It depends on the occupation. Because agricultural doesn't trigger a home occupation.
Yeah, so maybe that's where the direction we go to clean that up.
Yeah, agricultural does not trigger a business license.
Yeah, because right now you're saying it does, with this, without
With-
changing or permitted unless allowed under separate home occupation permit, but you'll never issue a separate home occupation permit for agriculture, you're saying?
No.
So maybe that's where we clean that up a little bit.
Okay.
And then the only other comment I have on that is under enforcement, chicken keeping activity must comply with the nuisance provision of the Morgan City Code. Maybe just add the code number to that one
Yeah.
as well.
While we're on that, on the enforcement, I turned onto Field Street the other day and had to swerve to miss a chicken. Nobody knows whose it is, where it came from. In fact, I don't know if it's like other farm animals. They may not even want to.
Was it collared?
Is it? Not even want it back on their. Didn't want to get hit by me.
Somebody came from Hawaii and that was in their
Yeah,
letter.
well, okay, good point. Well, that's been brought up once before. You're in Hawaii and you're doing that all the time. Do I call the county animal control
Either or,
to take care of that?
either or. I'll take care of it or she'll take care of it.
Okay, and then has anyone talked to the county? Is that gonna be a burden down the
No,
road?
we've
for
we've
them?
already discussed that with past issues.
Okay,
So we've already discussed that with the county.
okay, so they wouldn't have a problem with
No,
this,
that's what we pay them
the
for.
increased activity down the road.
No, that's what we pay them for.
Okay.
And we have had issues, not so much with chickens, but with peacocks. In our current zoning, it doesn't say anything about peacocks. It just says other fowl-like
Mhm.
animals. I can think of 4 locations right now that use peacocks for security. So we couldn't change that ordinance and get rid of peacocks.
County won't do skunks, will you?
If you want me to come do a skunk at your house, I'd be more than happy to.
I take care of
We'll
it.
trap it, we'll take it to Jeffrey's house and we'll do it there.
Got the trap.
Cause I owe him some.
Yeah, I got the trap.
If I mentioned one more thing, maybe I thought about changing, and I'll defer to Eric, our farmer, on this one. So I went home and did a little chicken research. And I said, okay, so how many eggs will 6 hens lay typically a day? And the answer on the internet was like 3 to 4. So I got
Depends on the breed.
And I got thinking, so if you're actually raising chickens, and you're raising them for eggs to consume, to eat, and you have a family, you probably aren't going to get enough eggs every day. And I thought, then I looked at, okay, so how many eggs would maybe 8 chickens lay a day? And it bumped it up to maybe 5. The internet said 5 or 6. And I thought, well, maybe that's a more reasonable number if you're just, you are raising eggs to.
To answer that question, I have 4 different breeds of chickens personally. My Rhode Island Reds will lay 1 a day. Everything else will lay 3 to 4
A day.
a day.
Okay, I was just looking on.
And if you get 6 chickens that you feed, you're gonna get 6 eggs a day.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of depends on the time of the year and the season, and winter time becomes an
The-
issue.
the
Yeah,
feed that you're feeding it.
the feed that you're feeding.
Yeah.
Looking on, like I said, I was doing my chicken research on the internet, and that's what it.
Yeah, I don't know a family around here unless they're cooking like some major cookies to go sell on the street corner for the kids, but I don't know anybody that can eat 6 eggs a day,
Well, okay.
every single day, day after day. I mean,
That's
that's,
a grandson that does.
that's a lot of eggs,
Can we go back to prohibition just quick, like before the meeting's over? And that's Gary and Jake. We've already had a public hearing on this, is that correct? That's correct. Okay, anybody speak against it?
We had one lady speak against it, but she was more against peacocks.
Okay, and then secondly, do we have time either now or during the next meeting to, on the prohibition part, to define the commercial sale, or do we need to table until another meeting?
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, listen up. No commercial sales, period. Commercial sales shall mean sales of eggs to commercial establishments. That's it.
But there were some other changes that Rose suggested as well, correct? Quite, actually.
Well, then we don't have we don't need the
Oh, I have the other one
separate home
down here.
occupation permit though.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
Yeah, we just take that one out.
Yep. And then on roosters, I have, except for lots greater than 20,000 square feet, so they can continue as is. And then we'll add the code under enforcement. And then under the manure, we just say removed regularly and compliance with the nuisance ordinance, and then I'll reference that.
By the way, there were some folks that still wanted roosters.
There are,
The one letter that we got, was that less than 20,000?
there were some concerns about the smaller lots, having roosters. The one comment that the gentleman brought up was, for the fair. You know, these kids will raise a fair rooster.
That's good.
Personally, I don't drive around looking for problems. So if that rooster's not causing a problem, I'm not gonna go say anything. So I don't think that that's an issue.
I have had complaints about roosters in residential areas that aren't supposed to have chickens according to our ordinances, but it's a difficult thing to complain about a neighbor that's raising chickens, so.
You know, we've
In the mayor's words, they were chicken.
Well,
definitely have had complaints.
Yeah, it's a concern.
The last one I went on with chickens, they had like 8 chickens and a rooster. The complaint came in about a rooster. They weren't allowed to have chickens. I told them to get rid of the rooster. And they ate it for dinner that night. So,
How did they slaughter it?
no, they were right in your front yard, buddy.
Little soup.
but let's keep in mind why we started this was so that people with smaller lots could have chickens. And it's blown up like crazy.
So
But that was our intent.
you mentioned, Ro, that we may have committee members here tonight. We've already had the public hearing. All we can do is you'll give them time to listen to their comments.
If you want to, you don't have to listen.
Well, we've got our public comment period that
Oh.
if they've already registered ahead of time.
They can fill out a.
The big change was to make it a little bit more easily understood for Row. I mean, so we had this 20,000 square foot cut off. And still, instead of something under 20,000 feet, breaking it down to
Yeah, I
15,000 or
really
10,000.
like keeping it simple.
Yeah,
That's
and
done right away.
20,000 and up and 20,000 and below.
I like it simple.
But I think I personally think that 6 chickens is oodles on smaller lots.
Okay. Anyways,
That's just my,
That was the planning
My
commission
opinion.
recommendation was
the
6.
intent was, I think, to make it easy on Row when he has to go out and try and enforce this when it comes to, he's not gonna go out there with a tape measure or.
Can you pick me up, bro? Cause I want to see some of them. That'd be fun to watch.
uno,
Okay,
dos.
TV show, right?
regular meeting.
Well, then, Cape Cod,
Chicken comps.
Chicken cups. We got a rooster here.
Real
coming in.
TV.
We're gonna do a TV
get the
show with
brand
you,
inspection.
hang out like some of those police shows.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have
They're
to
lucky to
start-
have you, Ro. You do a
You're
good
gonna have to brand the freaking
You do a good
chickens so you
job.
know who they belong to.
Alright.
So tag them, RFID, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they're
RFID.
now?
They
RFID.
do now, yeah. RFID is a huge thing now. Crazy.
That's all done.
Well, how much is a cow worth?
Well, they'll put the RFID tag in there, right? And then the really cool part is you can scan it. And you get all the information about it. Everything.
If it's been vaccinated or whatever.
Yeah, that's really
cool. The mother.
Yeah, you can upgrade it.
Yeah. What's the
Hasn't
value
had
of
chicken
a-
trouble with enforcement then?
No.
Even, okay.
It's interesting.
And they're not-
People think that they would like to do it and they get going on it, and figure out how big a task it is.
Mhm.
And then-
Maybe when the kids are gone, they're out of it. Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't see a bunch of chickens running around the streets down there, so
No.
it must be able to contain them pretty good. They're not running wild.
Yeah, we should have some parameters. And like you say, there are things that we go and look at and say.
Remember, so all the kind of goes.
Chickens running at
Year
large,
after year,
maybe.
just decimate.
Pardon?
Chickens. No, it's after a 9-month cycle.
Yeah.
That's a good
You
point.
just can't build your herd out of that.
What's that?
You know, chicken running out the road.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense.
Wasn't that on there?
Yeah, it was. I'll double check with Jake.
You missed a lot of time.
Yeah, I appreciate you paying attention there, Tony.
We missed.
Looking at it, it didn't look like it was too much going on, but I guess
The ones that are opposed,
chickens are important.
The ones that are pulled, one of the vacant, lives up in that- near that area. But that was not space of, I don't know.
Over at Field Street.
No, rezone.
Oh, okay.
Jake, we require that they be composed to reschools, right? Large.
They may be maintained on the property. On the
Aaron Brothers, your new chairman.
So the one running in front of Dave's car.
There's Nate.
Execution.
That's right. They had to elect you off. So they elected Aaron Blunt as the chairman and David Griffith as the vice chair.
2 meetings ago, I thought she did a good job.
Aaron does do a good job.
Raven, she keeps it moving and keeps it to the point.
It's been
Questions.
a long time since I've seen that much discussion between planning commissions.
Yeah, usually it's just a slam dunk, isn't it?
Beautiful area. I guess what's difficult for me is sometimes I feel like on the master plan,
I mean, everything more there was had graffiti.
Yeah.
how can we oppose it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can we, what rationale can we give to say, no, I don't, other than, I don't like it, you know?
Especially new master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not a
Yeah,
mistake.
it's not 10 years old, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're one of the few municipalities that really have an opportunity.
Pretty sure if you go to a Chinese joint.
Uh-huh.
I did,
I tell you that.
It's not gonna be years.
Your water.
Oh, thank you. That's my statement. Thank you. Thank you.
Because everybody. Yeah, because when they,
So where did you find yourself? What do you got?
I'm good. That's not. What's that? Every time I go across there, it's.
No, I was thinking about you just.
It was less.
One of the 3 days is the use.
Yeah, you get out. The wind is blowing. I've never not thought it was.
See.
I know they don't call it.
times when.
Agreed, absolutely agreed. That's kind of why I've been through. I was about. No, I can't. Back feet in the wind time. Yeah. I'm getting nothing, I'm like. I'm like, it's cheaper to lay.
Yeah.
Hey,
I should do this.
your job. Keep me.
You got your 12 minute.
Don't you read one spinning general plan? I was feeling like they just.
And you have.
The one that you have. Just barely. My son starts to see that. What's doing that wrong?
Oh, I thought that, yeah, are they the RM15 zone?
Yes.
I.
A little meat over the middle. On 700 east and the house is on 700 east. That's too bad. Sure. I can't imagine anything more miserable.
I think the answer.
I thought they were. The two lots were less zoning. That discussed it out. On the new general plan, are they in the RM15 or no?
Well, the general plan calls it medium residential density, which essentially is single family up to townhomes.
So the zone, so in the general plan, the zone is what?
So it's not a specific zone, it's more of a range.
So what is it?
Yeah,
So-
and the range would be
And what do we call it?
How's the feed been out on the mountains
Density.
this year?
and so it'd be single family.
So it's just not single family.
Yeah, so the idea is to be a mixture of how we. We didn't zero in to say this, so that's the problem with that.
Well, that's
At that point, you might go just.
Eric, that's what I.
Okay. that helped clarify it because. It wasn't in the article, but it is.
Yeah.
Which gives you a bit of a spread.
So this is what the board is. That's all across there. You gotta have them off there by August 3rd. Over the line. So.
You're gonna stand right there.
We'd have a whole nother 5,000.
Well, when they start. How many students now? So I start rolling the holes. Before I have the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
This can be a spot.
This is a real decision.
We had some.
Well, it's, if it was in.
Another one, my name is upset, it's still going up, and my days, there's blood pressure. That's naturally what it should be like.
Oh, let me tell you about one. There's also, I'm still hearing, I'm still hearing about it.
I mean, what, 3, 4 years down there now? That's a good. That's how they did yesterday's names. No, it's off the road, that's for sure.
And the other thing, same thing. That's the relatives, it's all housekeeping.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You gotta see his dad, yeah.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody to our Morgan City Council meeting, July 22nd, already 2025. Let's see, Dave, could I get you to have the pledge, and Jeffrey, would you say our prayer?
You bet. Please arise.
After me, I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this beautiful summer evening here in Morgan and for the mountains and the security that this valley has afforded to each one of us. We're grateful for the opportunity that we have to live in this amazing place. And as we meet here in the city chambers this evening and discuss the needs and the affairs of Morgan City, that we'll be able to keep in mind the history of this great valley and prepare for the future and make decisions that will be beneficial for those today and those coming after us to be able to enjoy this community. We're grateful for
those that are protecting militarily and our first responders, watch over and protect and bless them. We ask a blessing to be upon our community and our valley, that we'll be able to receive the moisture that we need to prolong our lifestyles and do the things that we enjoy doing here in this area. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the meeting's agenda. You got a chance to look that over and.
Mayor,
Tony,
I will make a motion that we do approve of the meeting agenda for tonight.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
okay, we have a motion from Tony, a second from Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Janet, that's unanimous. We move to item 2, the minutes of the city council meeting, June 24th, 2025. And the warrants, June 20th, 25 through July 18th, 25. Have an approval or any
Couple of
corrections?
questions. Yeah, just Ty, the ClearGov Inc., there were 2 disbursements, one for 4,500, one for 44. Just, I wonder what that was, and then they're both the same check number.
Yeah, so when there's multiple invoices to the same vendor, it all ends up on one check.
So are they separate
They're,
amounts?
they're 2 separate software
amounts?
programs. One is what I use to do the digital budget book that we did that puts it on the website. And the other one is for strategic planning that feeds into the budget. So I took the capital improvement list and used it to create a strategic plan that says of all of our projects, what percent, what all the steps are. So I use that. It says this one needs to be engineered, this one needs to go out to bid, this one's under construction. And reported on. And so that's what the 2
Okay.
software programs are.
And then ClearGov is, that's who provides the program.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. And then secondly, Janet, you provided minutes of the Morgan City Council work meeting of 6/24. I'd suggest we approve those at the same time as we do our city council meeting minutes tonight. That's all I had, Steve.
Okay. Have a motion?
Yeah, I'd move that we approve the minutes of the city council meeting and the minutes of the Morgan City Council work meeting of 6/24/2025 and the warrants from 6/20 to 7/18/25.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, well, what I'm thrilled about is we have some citizens here. Rarely happens. So we have a moment for any citizen comments. Has anybody filled out a form or? Okay. So if you'd like to step to the podium and just state your name.
Fill it out. Greetings, everyone. I'm David Christensen. I live in the Pheasant Run development here in Morgan. I am here today because, as I understand it, we are deciding and making some determinations on the easement that runs to our, it would be about northwest of our property lot lines. And I'm here as a stakeholder, as a property owner that impacts, and I'm hoping to hear what the direction is. With my comment only being that the best direction would be restoring the boundary lines as they were previous or prior to the easement. And many of my comments were TBD, so hoping to hear more about what the actual plans are, but that is why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? This one needs to be careful.
I'll hold my tongue. Not like my dad doesn't do. Anyway, Shane Gell. Also, I'm a homeowner in the Pheasant Run subdivision. Just had some of the same concerns on the easement. Just wanting to know how it's going to pan out, what we're allowed to do with the property. if the fence will be moved that was put in by the developer, if we can put new fences up, if we can put a structure on it, if it's going back to the recorded plat from the original, just all those details so we can move forward with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more comments? I don't see anybody on the line, Janet? No hands raised? Okay. Need a motion on item 4 to open a public hearing.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we open a public hearing for the adoption of the ordinance enacting compensation increase for elected statutory officers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will now.
Yeah, I seconded it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll take any public comment, but I don't see any. So Ty, you have anything?
Sure. So this is just a public hearing just for the public's knowledge, I guess, as part of the budget process. Every year, the state wants to make sure that any increase to the council or appointed officer, which would include me, is made public and the public has a chance to weigh in on that. We missed that. Well, we had it on the agenda, but we missed the public hearing portion of that. We noticed it for last meeting, but we didn't have a quorum. So we're doing it this meeting and yeah, in case anybody's interested, the budget included a 2.5% increase for the staff as well as the elected officials. And that's what was approved as part of the budget process.
On your exhibit, you were calling that cost of living?
Yeah.
2.5%.
Yeah, it was a 2.5. Yeah, the consumer price index was 3.1 and we approved a 2.5% cost of living adjustment.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Eric and a second from Tony. Sorry, I didn't mention their names last time, Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to our active agenda. So item A, just have a couple little things to say on this ordinance. The whole intent of the council was to allow smaller lots to have some chickens. And it's turned into an amazing thing. So I have a letter to read and my name is Cheryl Allen. Welcome, Cheryl. And I am writing to you about the amendment 10-16-090 farm animals with regards to chickens. I attended the planning commission meeting and voiced my support for having chickens on the smaller lots. I'm writing to you now because I am opposed to the section that prohibits roosters. I live on a 1-acre plot of land right here in Morgan City. I've had chickens and roosters the entire time we lived here, 16 plus years. In fact, I currently have a rooster named Cletus, and he is a sweetheart. I don't want to get rid of Cletus. My neighbors have never complained about our roosters over the years, and roosters are very beneficial for larger flocks of chickens. I am asking you to consider changing the proposed amendment to continue to allow properties of 20,000 square feet and larger to keep roosters. If there are still concerns about noise and close proximity to neighbors at this square footage, please consider allowing 1 acre and larger properties to consider having roosters. Previously, properties under 20,000 square feet were not allowed to have chickens. The proposed amendment allows these properties to enjoy the benefits of raising their own chickens, and I can understand the need to restrict roosters on these smaller properties where noise and close proximity to neighbors can be an issue. I don't understand the restriction of roosters on a big piece of property like mine where noise and proximity are not issues. I have no backyard neighbors, and my neighbors east of me also have an acre of land. My other neighbors have half acres or close to it. Do you want me to go through the benefits of roosters?
Say yes.
Okay. Roosters are needed to fertilize my hen's eggs. You can't hatch your own chicks without a rooster. That's awesome. That's awesome that I won't go there, sorry. Roosters protect my flock from predators. They are guardians for my hens and sound the alarm when danger is near. They will even physically defend my flock from predators if necessary. We have had 5 mink and 1 32-pound badger and multiple raccoons throughout the years move onto our property, and we have had early detection with minimal casualties to our flock because of our roosters. Because of our roosters' diligence, for those of you who know how destructive mink can be, when they get into a flock of chickens without warning, our roosters have literally saved our flock from being decimated several times. Roosters establish and maintain a more stable pecking order for my flock. Roosters encourage more natural flock dynamics like foraging, mating, and leading hens to food and shelter. The hens also lay more eggs when a rooster is in the flock. Roosters are beautiful, and many people enjoy the crow of a rooster. It's part of their charm, and unlike the noisy neighbor's dog, roosters don't make any noise after dark. They're only guilty of starting their day early. The early bird gets the worm. As the years go by, I'm starting to see a trend. Little hobby farms like mine are slowly being squeezed with restrictive ordinances. I bought this acre of land and have animals because I am intentionally parenting and teaching my children about animals, the cycles of life, and how to care for something other than themselves. I also love and enjoy all my animals. The country charm and appeal of Morgan is what brings people here, why we stay here, and why we enjoy it so much. Please don't take away this charm by restricting roosters altogether. Please don't take away my rights to own a rooster on my 1 acre piece of property. I'm asking you to continue to allow properties of 20,000 square feet and larger to have roosters, or make a change to the amendment to allow roosters on 1 acre and larger properties. Sincerely, Cheryl Allen. Oh, yes. Save Cletus. Roosters matter too. Hobby Farm Life. Do you want me to give your phone number? I personally love the letter. Thank you. I'm gonna maybe have Rose step to the podium, and everybody, by the way, this has been discussed in work meeting several times. It's been through several variations, and I think we're gonna make people smile tonight. So Ro, this is our enforcement man, and he's the one that would handle noisy roosters.
I've been to her house before.
Not
Not on a rooster call.
So Ro, you and I had a discussion, and maybe you can go over some of the things we talked about in the work meeting.
Absolutely. Couple of things that we talked about in the work meeting was the size of the property and the chickens.
Did we pull that up?
Well, yeah, Jake had all that.
Can you pull that up, Jake?
There
Ah,
there we
perfect.
go. Okay.
So we've
Thank
kind
you.
of changed a few things from the proposed amendments on the ordinances. We're still gonna allow everything on the 20,000 an acre or more, or 20,000 square feet or more, excuse me. Anything less won't be able to have a rooster. We've kind of changed the commercial sales line. Commercial sales is to a grocery store, a restaurant, stuff like that. You're not gonna be able to do that We did get rid of, the manure comment and changed it to go back to the nuisance ordinance. And just remove it regularly. What else did we completely remove, Jake?
Right here,
The coop size, we put that in there. This is for half acre or smaller. Other than that, I think everything else stayed the same.
I think that covers.
Are these
Take on your-
are these the changes we made in the work?
Yes.
Yes.
work meeting?
Jake, on your red line on your changes there on 4 where it says chickens 4A, number 1, probably just remove that. Go back up. You made reference to the lot size before, but see where it says number 1, roosters are prohibited in all residential zones. Just
Yeah.
just eliminate that. I think your reference to the other piece covers it. There we go.
And then half acre or smaller, 6 hens.
Okay, council, any more discussion? Any questions for Ro?
Do I get it completed?
Any questions?
I don't.
I think just listening to your letter, that was the first time I'd heard your letter, Cheryl. I think that kind of went with what you would like to see. On the code side, that's what I would like to see. So. Any other questions,
Okay, thank you, Ro.
gentlemen?
As Mayor, as you mentioned earlier, we discussed this at some length in our previous work meeting. So having said that, I will make a motion that we adopt ordinance 25-13. That's an ordinance amending Title 10 zoning regulations, providing for the consistency in the land use application for farm animals, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an immediate effective date.
Okay, we have a motion from Tony. Do we have a second? Okay. Okay, we have a second from Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Ordinance passes.
Thank you.
And Cletus thanks us too, right?
You don't have to put up billboards and things.
I appreciate everybody's work on this. Okay. Let's move to item B, review action amending 10-16-180. It's not a dash, but we'll call it a -05 accessory dwelling units, land use chart, table 1 zones, ordinance 2510. Okay, do we have any comments on that?
This is, you can just have Ty or Jake briefly mention what we're doing.
This is just clean one.
What was that?
Okay,
Jake.
Just
yeah, I can
brief-
explain this.
Talk before
So,
about it, but
as-
just a brief
As
mention.
we were reviewing the city code, we found that some inconsistencies with our zoning ordinance in the sense that you could live in some zones that were larger than 6,000 square feet, which would allow for accessory dwelling, but yet it was not allowed in the permitted use table. So we're not changing the physical nature of whether or not you could have an attached ADU or a detached ADU. We're just opening it up to all residential. Let me go to the table here. This will explain it. So before we did not allow it in the R18. And part of that was because you cannot go build an R18 as it's written now because that's not allowed. But on the map, we still show a lot of R18. So that's where that the biggest conflict was, meaning you could have a lot large enough for an ADU, but because on the map you're in an R18, then you wouldn't be able to do it, even though you had the same size of lot as your neighbor who was in an R110 or R112 and could do it. And then the rest of it was just simplifying the language. And on here, you might say, well, why are you adding it to RM15? Well, you can live in RM15 and still have a single family home and want to have an ADU. So essentially we're just allowing that. And then we did add just this footnote, lot size minimums and design requirements apply to all zones. So it was just more of a reminder language.
I'd probably also add, Jake, that the Planning Commission has reviewed this and given a positive recommendation as well as entertained a public hearing.
Yes, and we had no negative comments from the public, and the vote was unanimous from the Planning Commission. It was just cleaning things up for consistency. And by the way, even with an MD zone, if you lived in an MD zone with a single family home, you could have an ADU, but only attached ADU, not a detached. And even though you wouldn't be able to go build a new home in a manufacturing zoning, if you already have a home there, you could do it internally because that's compliant with the state law, but we're not allowing for a detached because we don't want to really promote single family homes in manufacturing. The idea is to transition at some point.
Is there any more discussion?
Good discussion. With that discussion, Steve, I would move to approve ordinance 25-10, an ordinance amending Title 10 zoning regulations, providing for consistency in the land use applications for accessory dwelling units, providing for repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an immediate effective date.
Second that, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion from Dave, a second from Jeffrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Janet, that's unanimous. Since I think at least some of our residents are here for item F, could I switch up and move to that? I think that's permissible.
You're the boss.
Let's go to item F. It's a resolution adopting and approving a release of easement by Morgan City, Resolution 2521. So Ty, do you want to take over or Gary?
Oh, or just, I heard my name.
He woke you
I
up.
was ready to go. Would you like me to? I could just explain it real
Yeah, go ahead.
quickly. So originally when Pheasant Run Phase 2 was approved and Phase 1 were approved, they were approved with an access easement along the back of the property. As you may recall, we went through extensive litigation over that easement, the size of it, the width of it, that type of thing. Well, that all went away, of course, when the land was proposed for development. And now development has been approved, subdivision has been approved on the property to the north. Or is in the process, I guess. I don't know if it's been approved.
It's close.
Turner, close. But the application has been submitted, which means that there's no more need for that access easement that was indicated on the plat, on the Phase 2 plat. And so we talked with the county recorder as to how they would like to handle our submission of a release of easement for that access easement, no longer needed for agricultural purposes. And they indicated that we could do it in a single document, a release of easement document that would essentially identify each of the parcels in Phase 2, including ours, including the detention basin that we've got, which is Lot A, I think is what it's called, but I think. So that what this would do is release the easement along the back of the property as far as the city's concerned. And as far as the moving of fences and that type of thing, the city, of course, doesn't have anything to do with private agreements that may exist or anything else. But as far as the city's concerned, there's no city ordinance that would prohibit them from moving their fence back, at the edge of their property line. So that's kind of a brief description of it. It needs to be approved by resolution. You need to approve that by resolution before we can submit that to the county for recording. But after you submit it for recording, it will eliminate that easement on the north end. And that would be appropriate to do it. We haven't done it on phase one yet because that property, an application has not been received for subdivision approval on that one yet, but it has on phase two. So it's appropriate that we release it. I'd recommend that you do that.
So Gary, if we just make a motion to approve, adopt this resolution, we don't need to state each of these individual parcels in here, do we?
No.
It's just that would be included in that resolution.
Yes, it would be all lots on the north end of phase two. So you wouldn't need to identify them, no,
You would need to, okay,
no.
so
Just
the
approving trying to
resolution,
make it as simple as possible because
Okay.
otherwise we'd have had a separate resolution for each of those, but the county recorder was good with just a single resolution, so that's a good thing.
So Gary, I've had a couple questions. They don't need to put a fence up. They can take the fence down.
They can take the fence down.
And if they don't want a fence, they don't have to have it in their back.
I don't know a
In
reason.
other words, moving the fence however many feet so a fence isn't totally required.
Right,
And then,
because it's not agricultural anymore, the other side of that.
right. And there's questions about, is that ditch going to be,
Relocated, according to Matt. I did check with Matt before we.
it's not just
before we
piped in
released
that
it.
location, it's gonna be relocated?
Yeah, it should be relocated, is what I understand, into a road. So I don't know if anybody knows about that,
Oh, yeah.
but it is relocated into a roadway. And so the developer will be relocating it. I'm not sure when that'll occur. But,
They're in the process of doing that.
Are they? yeah, it's a big deal, so. But yes,
So with that discussion, gentlemen, do you have any other concerns?
Allowed us to rip out the fence the developer put in across the back with no issues. And do we need to wait to relocate the fence until that ditch is moved or pipe, just in fear of it getting torn out by equipment? Like the property line is right on the ditch bank behind my place. Some of them go right to the ditch. I don't think you want to do a lot until they're done moving it.
I think that would probably be wise, so you don't lose your fence, a brand new fence, but yeah, I'd wait and then go ahead, but do you have a right to do it, to move it? Yes. As far as the city's concerned. And, unless you have an agreement with somebody else, but I don't know of any that exists, so. Yeah.
Now, back to the regional plat, put public utility easement or whatever. Look up there, no structure within that and be the property line.
Yeah, I looked, I could not see, and I failed to ask Matt this, but I couldn't see a 10-foot utility easement along the back of that property. So the city tries to put the utility easement in the front of the property so that we can run our utilities in the front.
It was an access
It was
easement.
access easement only.
It was an access easement and the fence was what came into question. And the developer was supposed to put the fence on the property line and maintain the 10 feet, but the fence ended up having to be put on a different angle, but that access easement goes away with this release of easement.
And I don't see any utilities in back there.
No, we put them all in the front.
Normal backyard.
Yeah, there it is right there in the front.
Ro, anything else to add? Okay. Answered your question. Good. Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, Mayor,
Tony?
with that, I will make a motion that we approve resolution 25-21. A resolution adopting and approving a release of easement by Morgan City.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Tony. Second from Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Janet, that's unanimous.
This where this resolution will be recorded with the county recorder probably in the next week or so, so.
Anybody hear that? It'll be recorded in a week or so.
Knowing that there will be future development to remove the irrigation and relocate it.
Right.
So don't go off the fence, right?
That's probably wise. to Wait until that settles, till the dust settles back there.
Yeah, just a little longer.
If you guys have any questions, you can call Andrew Sales. He's the project manager down there. Okay. You want to ask him?
Whose property is the fence? Like, we tear it out, is that the city's fence, or what do we do with that?
It's,
Take it at the dump, or?
Yeah, it's your fence.
Yeah.
So.
Your property. Okay. Well, unless those concerned want to stay for the rest of the meeting, we generally say you can enjoy a root beer freeze or whatever you have on mind. But thanks for your input and coming.
Thank you.
See,
I think you were on.
C.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna move to item C. That is an ordinance amending the zoning designation of parcels of property containing a total of approximately 0.62 acres located at approximately 690 north and 700 east by changing the zoning designation thereof from the existing R18 to RM15, providing for the amendment to the zoning map, providing for repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Ordinance 2511. Okay, do we have any comments from the council? Do we have a representative here for this?
I mean, we just note that we had discussion in the work session, so.
Yeah.
There has been some work done.
Okay, if you'd like to step to the pulpit and state your name. Do we need a phone number too, Janet? I can't remember. We might on this guy.
I filled one out just in case. So, thanks for having me. I'm Jordash Wardell, and the first thing I want to note that there was 4 of us here tonight that barely graduated high school. We were in the same class, and so I was grateful that we were here and at least moving forward in our lives.
It's a
Some of-
reunion.
Yeah. Mayor Gale knows.
Thankful
there's-
for that too.
Yeah.
I'm grateful you are still alive.
Yeah, you had some sons in that mix for sure. So anyway, we own, the way this started is we own the parcel above that, right there where his cursor is. And we got that approved for a few apartments. And then at the recommendation of Matt Harbison, the city engineer, he recommended we go talk to the corner owner, just to minimize impacts before we started construction. And we talked to Valina Greenwell, and she's a great lady. We talked to her and it wasn't on our radar, but she proposed the idea to just sell us her piece and then move that zoning line down and make it a maybe a little bit better development than trying to squeeze in on that one 0.33 acre parcel there. So as we studied it and looked at it, that corner there, if you look straight across from Jenny Lane, the property owned by Sam McCurdy, it's actually zoned RM15. So the zoning, the green zoning or the RM15 zoning extends down on the corner there to 700 East. It extends all the way to the corner. And then if you go up to Danny's Way and Great View Drive and Mahogany Ridge Road, the other three main roads that feed onto 700 East, the corners, the one lots on the corner, the zoning extends all the way down to 700 East. So we thought, well, that's consistent and it matches the general plan. So why not give it a try? And it also touches the RM15 zoning on two sides, plus a little piece, little sliver up in the one corner is zoned RM15 if you zoom in on that map. So that's why we're here, is we just want to, we've got a deal worked out with her to make that part of one development that maybe fits a little better than the first original one we proposed.
We have any comments or questions for Jordash?
I don't have one for Jordash, but Jake, I have one for you, and I've just noticed something here that's, so when you look at our general plan future land use, as I look at it, it looks like that's designated as medium density residential, 3 to 5 units per acre. How does that reconcile with an RM15?
Let me explain that.
I'm a little confused there.
When we put together the general plan, it was, the densities were higher and then they were brought lower. And it was also the language in the fine print, it's all about gross units per acre. So by the time you add parks, trails, roadways, all of that, so the net numbers are quite a bit higher than the gross numbers. So that is where that, does that make sense?
No,
Okay.
not to me. I guess what I'm saying is, as a city council, do we look at this future land use general plan as a blueprint? And then as I look at it, that blueprint is medium density residential is 3 to 5 units per acre. What am I missing here? What's the disconnect?
It's supposed to be a gross number. When you look at the whole city, it's hard to get down to net means on the individual lot. And then gross is zooming out, so you add roadways, parks, other things. And so the numbers aren't always completely apples to apples. So it is a bigger number, and that's where that medium is. I mean, because it does follow the other townhomes that are approved and a part of it. Do you have a way to maybe explain that?
So you're saying the net is always smaller than the gross?
Yeah, the net is zoning and gross is zooming out and including roadways and other things.
So even though you may approve the general plan, what they actually get on the property may be substantially less because of the way the roads are put in, the way the alleys put in, those types of things.
Substantially more.
This would be more.
Substantially more, because at that point, there is no roads and all that. So in the general plan at the gross level, you add roadways and other things in it.
Right.
I think next time we do the update, we need to tweak that language, because I realize it is confusing.
I'm confused.
Yeah, so basically you would add maybe 30% more to the number because you're adding for roads. You're
explain it a little bit in layman's terms.
Yeah, please do.
The way I was taught.
If you grab a mic.
If you grab a mic.
So the way I was told is if you have a 10 acre piece of property, you can put X number of, let's say 2 to 3 units per acre. But on that 10 acre piece of property, you've got a church, 3 parks, a walk path, and 4 roads. It takes that 10 acre property to 3 units. Where what he's saying is gross and net, you have to add all of the land, the road, the parks, the sidewalks, all that stuff together, and then it's an average. Does that make sense?
Well, but in this case, and I don't mean to be difficult here, I'm a little confused. This case, our zoning says, as I said, it shows on our new general plan that this would be medium density residential, 3 to 5 units per acre. So if we look at this particular application, it's 2/3 of an acre, roughly. And they're wanting to put on, I don't know how many units, whatever that property will, you know. So I guess my question is how do I make a decision based on that? I mean, does that make sense? I'm a
But
little,
you're taking this entire piece. And dividing it by the lots. And that's your 3 to 5 per acre. Because you're including all of this land, roads, sidewalks, parks, cemeteries. You're taking all of this land. And dividing it by the actual lot. Is how you get the 2 to 5 per acre. So the actual lot might have more,
am I the only one not seeing this?
but as an average. The number is smaller.
The roads take up space, there's a whole bunch of open space you can't build on, there's parks. So the whole acreage is the way you calculate it, so you take this whole area right here, you divide it by. Take the acreage and divide it by how many houses there, and you'll land somewhere between 3 and 5 houses, is the general plan idea.
So what's on the screen? Isn't that green area on the wrong side of the road?
Green.
Okay, and then we move to Jenny Lane, okay. So that yellow line that's,
Go back to the current zoning map. That one. Now scroll in. Zoom into that lot, Jake. There you go. That green's the RM 15 right there. And the rest of that, right? Am I right on that, Jake? And then the rest of that is the R1, R18 and the R110.
Correct.
so when you have say Sam McCurdy's piece that's in that zone, but what would that, how do I word this? How would that change if that structure and the structures that he's there never change? The zoning wouldn't matter, right? Just because he's in RM 15.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
If he doesn't propose to do anything with his property, then zoning doesn't matter because he's already built, he's already invested. If you want to replace it with a single family, he could. Maybe I'd have to double check that, but it's not until someone, you know, is ready to do a building permit, does the zoning really, size of home, number of units, all that kick in. Is that what you're going towards, or?
Yeah, I'm just, what I'm saying, that borders, that zone borders Jenny Lane. But now if you zoom back out,
You gotta zoom out a little bit, Jake.
okay, maybe
Right
in
there.
yeah,
Well,
in a little bit for my eyes.
Okay.
Okay, so Jenny Lane, and then we have that 0.66 or so lot size, 690. That's not in that. It's actually in a different,
Correct.
okay. So my thoughts are, do we Do we set a precedent by changing zonings for an application just because we got an application? Gary?
The answer is, yeah, the council does never set a precedent in zoning. Each decision is made on its own merits. And you could have, like I said before, two properties right next to each other. One you decide you want to go ahead and approve the zoning on, and the other one you don't, for whatever land use reason or rational basis that you might have for deciding not to zone the second one. So it doesn't set a precedent, but you need to study this one and just say, this is maybe appropriate that this be rezoned, or it's not. And so it doesn't tie you down for any future applications at all.
Okay.
It may make sense, you know, the way things are being built out to zone something, but are you forced? No. Because of precedent, no.
Thank you. Any more discussion? You're giving me that look, Tony.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about, so we've adopted this general plan. So theoretically, what we're doing tonight is essentially would not necessarily be in line with what our general plan is showing. Am I missing a point here somewhere?
It would. It's compatible. When you look at the gross units per acre, you're looking at the whole city. That's when it's in the range of the math. And I realize the confusion on that. And regardless of this, maybe we have a follow-up, just one-on-one conversation on that. But townhomes are medium, they're not apartments. This does allow for, it is single family up to kind of that attached house. So it's in the range, but as Gary said, this is a legislative decision. This is what you think is the right fit. Is it the right time? Is it the right place? Is it compatible? Is it, you know, good with the community, that kind of thing at large?
Mayor?
Hi.
Just a question for Jake, if that's okay.
Yep.
Just because at one point, medium density is our highest density, or was our highest density. Do we have anywhere that's specifically high density
I would say
in the general plan?
the downtown areas, like Commercial Street, the State Street areas, some of those.
But in residential, we don't have a residential area that's called high density. Medium density is as high as we get.
Correct.
And RM15 is our highest density, right?
In a residential.
In a residential.
Yes.
So I'm just talking residential.
Yes.
So RM15 is the zone that fits within medium density general plan. Does that make sense?
Does to me.
So we've always only had medium density. So like behind Tractor Supply, on 250, we only have a certain areas, but the general plan calls for medium density, which is RM7 or RM15. And so this zone is for RM15, which fits within medium density.
And is also compatible with the R110 and R112.
Yeah, I was just clarifying that RM15 is our highest dense zone, but general plan wise, we only have a medium density general plan. We don't have.
Right,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay,
yes, I understand,
Just-
I understand that. yes.
yeah, that's what I thought was maybe what you were getting at.
So, yeah, like this pink area, that's kind of, downtown, specifically downtown mixed use, which is really the focus is Commercial Street and State Street.
Yeah, we need to have a discussion one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe with that being said, maybe what we ought to do is table this one. It's an option for us.
Well. You say you're table it, are you looking for more information?
Just give some more time to think about it. Give Tony some time to talk to Jake more about it. We'll vote on it next meeting.
I'm okay if you want to move forward. It's okay with me. I've got a little mental block here that I need to get past, but I guess, and I'll say it, I guess here's my problem. I'm looking at our future land use. We just put it together. I'm seeing these different land uses. I'm seeing low density residential. I'm seeing medium density residential. Do we even, in the future, why even have an RM15 zone? I mean, can it not just be zoned according to the general plan? This is that zone, medium density. This is that zone, low density. I'm just.
It could be. Mandatory compliance with your general plan. We've still been able to keep that idea that the timing may not be right for a particular zone to be put into place. But I know that that's what the legislature would like to see, is that once you general plan an area like this, that essentially it automatically becomes mandatory and you have to pretty much have to zone it, to that degree. But right now you don't have that.
Yeah.
That strict compliance.
And maybe that's where I'm getting hung up a little bit too, so.
And general plan is a 20-year, 15 to 20-year horizon, and things are almost always incremental over time, and not kind of these big wholesale changes. So I think it is good to look at each application individually. And I realize the language there. I particularly don't love it myself either, even though I realize I wasn't given the plan, but I was kind of quarterbacking it through. And so it's general plans written at this picture of looking at the whole city. And we're dealing with applications on a quarter acre lot. And that's where we're seeing this variation. And so that's where some things need to be fixed on it is.
Yeah.
So okay, that's where we line up
Yeah.
and seeing that
Yes.
the confusion comes in is that the general plan's the whole city, and then sometimes we get these applications of a quarter acre lot. And so, okay, how do we apply that?
Yeah.
And I don't think any general plan will tell you exactly what to do with any specific quarter unless it's like a park or, a real dialed in, the plaza area or downtown or whatever. But in these more residential areas, there is a range and there is flexibility. And in this area, I mean, the way the city's been for the last 10 years, it's a little bit of a mixture, right? There's been some of these townhome projects that are approved a decade ago. The one just above the hill, that was entitled what year originally?
You're talking mahogany?
Yeah, this piece right here.
Mahogany Ridge?
Yeah. or early 2000s. So we're looking at maybe 20 years ago in terms of townhomes and all that. And it's, I guess what I'm saying is it's not, it's a mixture of things on the bench.
So my comment there is, are we thrilled with that? Looking at it 20 years back, are we happy that that decision was made in our rural setting? That's.
I can say I would have
debatable.
done the roads differently had I had an opportunity.
Okay.
So I default back to Dave and Tony. Is this the same discussions the planning commission was rolling around?
I wasn't there at the meeting, Tony.
I don't recall this coming up, but I could be wrong. I mean,
Not on the numbers. They were looking at the medium part of the
Right.
general plan, but
Brought up was, Jay asked to zoom out on the general plan and the current zoning because everybody was focused on that lot.
One's, yeah.
The three around it. And so he had Jake zoom out. And then he's like, well, that makes sense because this is how it's zoned currently. This is our general zone. So that's where the confusion was, is everybody was looking at this one lot with the three parcels around it versus looking at the actual zoning map.
right. But the general plan,
The current zoning and the general, yes. So that was the discussion at the planning commission.
Mayor, I don't know if we're close or not to a motion, but I do have a comment on the fourth whereas. If you do make a motion, it says the subject property as central commercial.
oh, I apologize.
And it's the same on the resolution for the other rezone that we have, so. Just thought I'd pull a Dave.
Yes, supposed.
I was waiting, but I didn't see it underlined on his paper,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd bring it up.
You're supposed to whisper in my ear.
Well, I was gonna underline on your.
Yeah. I got it covered. Good call. It's funny.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Hmm. Hmm.
Silence is golden sometimes, but not all
No.
times.
Mayor. I'll make a motion. We'll see what happens here. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 25-11, ordinance amending the zoning designation of parcels of property containing a total of approximately 8.62 acres located approximately 690 north, 700 east by changing the zoning designation there from the existing R18 to RM15, providing for the amendment to the zoning map, providing for repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date with the changes that Ty suggested.
Agreed.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Eric, a second from Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye. But we gotta have a discussion.
Did you give an aye?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
No, second. Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, Janet, that's unanimous.
How about any confused? Aye.
Okay.
Got an option.
Okay. Item D, an ordinance amending the zoning designation of parcels of property containing a total of approximately 0.27 acres located at approximately 582 north and 700 east by changing the zoning designation thereof from the existing R18 to RM15. Okay, do we have any discussion on that, council, before we have Corey step to the podium?
Would you zoom that map out, Jake?
The
Yeah.
live version.
Yeah.
So we are looking at this piece right here. Well,
Thank you.
okay, does that work?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. And that pretty much fits in the same map we've been.
Yeah.
So basically the same thing. Other than somebody mentioned spot zoning on this piece because it wasn't actually touching. Again, they zoomed in on the lot, looked at the 3 lots around it. Once they zoomed out, then everybody understood. But somebody had brought up spot zoning and Gary had to correct him on what spot zoning actually is. But it was the same discussion.
And we discussed
Thank-
zoning in our work.
He educated us on that 2
Yeah.
hours ago.
Yeah. So that's all that was said with this one as well.
And this is the city property right here with the stormwater basin.
Yes.
But I don't know that that affects it one way or the other. You can't skateboard on this, by the way.
Did you try?
That's somebody's.
Fine there.
Somebody's opinion. Does it happen?
I've learned that signs are just suggestions.
What's a little bit different about this is that the way that the RM15 zone is written, it's so much land for the first unit and then additionally the second. And so you can't, the numbers will be significantly less. I'm gonna pull that up right here. So you can take a look at that. Okay. So for the first dwelling, it's 8,000 square feet you need. And then 2,500 for the second. So we're looking at, I say approximately, you wouldn't know until there's an actual survey, but looking at two units is what they could do standalone with that one. And then I looked on Google Earth and it looks like it's been a field for 30 years, as far back as I could. But I learned that it was a former school and maybe a gas station at some point. Some history to share? No.
Hey, Corey, would you like this?
Was a gas station.
As was mentioned earlier, we all went to high school together and I'm always the last one. Graduated last too, but still plugging away, Mayor. So as we looked at this property, and I like how Councilman Turner suggested that we pull back, and that was also brought up in the planning commission meeting. So Jake, if you can zoom out just a little bit there. And we look at what's mapped green. As we looked at our property that's there, to us, it looks like it's conforming or it's in that same area. And as a vacant piece of property that hasn't been beautified or nothing's been done with it, and it's a standalone building lot as it is we're just looking to be able to utilize that and follow the general plan and bringing up a different mix of housing, similar to be able to have 2 units on that property. So that's what we're trying to do, is to come up with something that can fit within that and also utilize what the general plan is suggesting it allows for.
One thing I'd mention, what's nice about the 700 East right here is that it's not UDOT. Yeah, if this was a UDOT right away, we would, we'd be bringing up the access issues, which I think the UDOT right away does, this section of 700 East is part of that. But anyway, that was the question I had on it, but it's not UDOT right away in terms of access.
As Jake says that, one of the things I get talked to a lot from the residents is about the flow of traffic on our streets, and we just they're like, you guys just keep adding more and more, and the streets think about the infrastructure. But and Jake's does have a good point there. And basically that'd only be able to have 2 units.
Correct.
You're not even at 0.27 of an acre. There's not that much there, is there?
Yeah, I'll show you some photos from a site visit. Oh, we already looked at those.
Yeah, we looked at it.
It's just weeds. So,
All right. I'm gonna do the same thing I just did. Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance 25-12, an ordinance amending the zoning designation of parcels property containing a total of approximately 0.27 acres located at approximately 528 north, 700 east by changing the zoning designation thereof from the existing R18 to RM15, providing for the amendment of the zoning map, providing for repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date with the necessary changes made today in the meeting.
So 582.
Did I say that?
582 north.
Did I say that wrong?
528,
Sorry, 582 north. That's what I meant to say. Everybody knew that, right?
We have a motion from Eric. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second.
One question.
Okay.
Do you own the property?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Damn it, that's unanimous. Okay, let's move on to item E.
Good night, gentlemen. Thank you.
thanks, Ro.
Thanks, Ro.
Thanks.
We'll go chase some chickens down.
Okay, next week. Sorry, I shouldn't be swaying city council. Somebody's got to make a sign, say chicken police or something, put on his desk. Can you do that for me, Ty? Chicken cops.
Cop.
What?
Okay. Let's move to item E, adoption of changes in the compensation for elective and statutory officers of Morgan City, proposed for 25 through 26 fiscal year, ordinance 2507. So everybody has the
Exhibit A.
huge raise in front of them. There any more discussion?
Well, this has been there, this is one that's been on our stuff for a while, so
Let's get rid of it.
let's get rid of it. So with that being said, Mayor, I'll make a motion that you approve ordinance 25-07, ordinance for the city council. For an ordinance of the city council of the city of Morgan, Utah, enacting compensation increase for elected and statutory officers.
Second.
Okay. Let's see, this concerns money, so Dave,
I,
Eric,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Jeffrey.
Aye.
Okay, Janet, that's unanimous.
Mr. Mayor, we should also note that this was set for a public hearing and there's no public comment,
Okay.
either written or in the room right now, so.
Thank you.
We're the politicians just gave ourselves a raise.
I get your raise.
45 to 25.
Okay, item G, a resolution authorizing an agreement with RC Hunt Electric Incorporated for the State Street Electrical Service Relocation Project, authorizing further negotiations and change orders necessary for the completion of the State Street Electrical Service Relocation Project. I believe, Ty, this is already taking place.
Yeah, so this is kind of a, after the fact, we're on a tight time schedule for that State Street project. So we've awarded the bid. The award letter is in the packet. We put it out for bid. We had, I should say also because we didn't have a quorum. Signed the agreement, let them move forward. We got to have this project was already delayed from engineering, but we have a grant deadline that we're working on, trying to get this done by October. We've talked about it in several meetings though, and the council's aware of the grant that we've received. So this is basically ratifying my decision to move forward. We received 4 bids. Two of the low bids actually wanted to bore the entire project. They didn't want to trench anything, and nobody thought that was even possible. So we went back and asked them if they'd like to amend their bid. One of them didn't want to do the project if they couldn't bore the whole thing. And the other one gave us a price that was higher than the high bid once they included trenching. And then that left the 2. Hunt Electric was still just slightly higher than the other one, but we have a master service agreement with Hunt Electric. They've done work for us and we're familiar with them. Is the reason why we ended up selecting Hunt. They were a really competitive bid, but they also seemed to have a better handle on what they were bidding on. The next lowest bid, they were real close to Hunt, but one of their big line items was for other. So they bid it out and then just put other, and Hunt had a complete bid with nothing listed in other. So they had a pretty good handle on it. So we've awarded the bid. Right now we have just a contract agreement. It's not the agreement, not the full contract from the city. We're still working on that, but it's including it includes the bid documents, which was 122 pages. So we didn't put it in packet and this is what we're running off of right now is the design documents in the bid package.
But the project started already.
The project
That-
started, yeah. So we're kind of ratifying my ability to.
Sure,
award
but should you have a contract before you start the project?
Um, s- so we had the pre-construction meeting, the contracts. Well, they're following the bid documents and everything that they've agreed to, and this is pretty spelled out, like the contract isn't gonna have anything. This has the time frame. It has all of the conditions that need to be met, but we got them started on the project. So the contract's not gonna have anything contrary to the bid document
And timeframe was how long?
till October 31st.
Thank you for clearing up the comment on the low bids, because I was wondering about that myself. I noticed even the engineer suggested those other two bids be looked at, so I appreciate that clarification.
Process we went through to select.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. I will make a motion that we adopt resolution 25-22, a resolution authorizing an agreement with RC Hunt Electric Incorporated for the State Street Electrical Service Relocation Project, authorizing further negotiations and change orders necessary for the completion of the State Street Electrical Service Relocation Project.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion from Tony, a second from Jeffrey. I believe this is an A&A. Dave?
Aye.
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 Yeah, that's unanimous. Okay, H. Discussion. Naming the alleyway plaza. Okay, so I want, help me on this. It says discussion. Is this not the final?
Yeah, so it's not, this started in planning, kind of the planning commission level. It's just kind of a fun thing that we added to the project while it's underway. You know, that it should have a name. So we started at the planning commission. This is, just brought up for more discussion. It'll still be a list. We're not trying to finalize a name, but we're finalizing a list, so it's not an action item. And then process-wise, we'll put it out to the public, and we just thought it would be fun to let everybody chime in and vote on their favor, but we wanted to, instead of just have an open-ended list, that's why it's for discussion. So this list right here is the top from the staff and planning commission. And now it's, if you want to toss any out.
Not in any particular order.
Not in any particular order. And then if you wanted to chime in, what we're looking for is I would say the top 5 to the public to vote on. If it's a list much longer than that, I think we ought to be able to come up with the,
Ty, could I add a comment?
no. So, I don't know, ask the mayor.
Mayor,
Right.
sorry, I apologize. So as Ty said, we'll do a survey with the residents and see what they think. And I would say, whatever, if we come to a resolution on this tonight, on this item, only pick names that you can live with. And then if there is multiple names that the city council can live with for the plaza, then we'll, put it out for a vote, and then you still get the final decision. But there, of course, the idea is to kind of make it a public process, kind of like when the hockey team had like 3 names or something like that. So that's kind of the idea. But again, don't put out to vote if there's a name that you don't like as a group.
Mayor,
Okay,
can we add a name?
I got one I want to add too.
I mean, I think listening to the discussion in planning, didn't we discuss a little bit how we maybe want it railroad themed a little bit? Kind of a railroad theme to it? 'Cause we
Correct.
are a railroad town.
Yep.
Switchyard.
Switchyard Plaza.
This Switchyard Plaza, Could be Switchyard Plaza.
I do. Interesting enough, the Morgan, when it was settled here, they were having a tough time staying here in the valley. They really were. They were having a tough time. And actually, they say that when the railroad came through, my great grandfather actually helped build the rail bed, and that's kind of gave them enough money to actually be able to kind of stay here in Morgan. So that the railroad actually, when it came through, actually gave them enough money to kind of keep going here. Otherwise, they were having trouble here. It was they couldn't hardly grow crops. They were freezing year round, and the temperatures it was quite the climate, I guess, for them. But I thought of the Morgan Heritage. I hadn't come up with kind of the Morgan Heritage, kind of like we're thinking back on our past. So I like the Morgan Heritage. It isn't on there. So
Morgan Heritage Plaza or
Square.
Square? Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Same with Switchyard Plaza or Square. That had a railroad theme to it, so. Oh, I ain't got no gondola plaza.
So I
On the
guess,
list you have, I like the Front Street. Everybody I've always heard it always has been referred to Front Street. Historically, that's always been Front Street.
Yep.
To me, more than Commercial Street. I would just stick with the history of it, to leave Front Street Plaza with it.
Or Buzzy's Plaza.
I was actually wondering the other day, why not rename Commercial Street to Front Street? I realize it'd be a short pain, but I think would be good for marketing. Anyway, I don't want to derail this conversation with that idea, but I was thinking about that.
Not a bad one.
I know, 'cause, yeah, It's
Put
always
a
been
pin in
Front
that,
Street.
sorry, put a pin in that. I don't want to distract us.
you want to highlight that one on the?
Yeah,
Whistle
Okay.
Stop, fried green tomatoes.
So tonight, do we want to narrow this down to the 5? Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
yes.
What if each council member gave their 3 least favorite and then see what we're left with? Think which ones are that you dislike? Well, maybe that's not a good way to put just your 3 least favorite, and then we'll go through and see how many are left.
Have to limit it to 3.
Let's start with that. I mean, we could say 8 or something, but let's start with 3, and because we've got,
See what the commonality is.
and we'll include the mayor on this one.
Do you want us to each name those, Dave? Is that what you're saying?
Process of elimination is what you're
saying.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, the reverse of that is that we might end up with the ones that we like.
Well, I'll start it.
I could go second.
I'll eliminate the top 5.
All the railroad ones you've got there. Whistle, Trackside, Iron, Rolleye, Silver.
Wait, that's more than 3. So you're the mayor.
That's why I said limit to 3, but. And out of those 2, if I kept any, I wouldn't keep any.
Let's just work on the ones that we want to eliminate, or we would eliminate.
If you want mine, I don't like Commercial Square. That's about Rollby Plaza.
No on roll by.
I mean, let's maybe just go one by
Roll-
one.
roll-
So-
Roll by for me.
Yeah, pretty soon Tony's gonna have 6 votes here. Start with Jeff and then we'll just go down. Everybody.
My 3 least?
Tony's got one more.
Oh,
Oh,
You just got Rollby Plaza, Commercial Square, and probably the other one would be Morgan City Plaza.
okay.
You up, Jeffrey?
yeah, Roll by Plaza, I'm not a fan of. I'm not sure I'm a fan of Whistle Stop Plaza either. And yeah, even Iron Horse, I'm not a fan of any of the railroad ones.
On the Whistle Stop, we could have the whistle be a rooster.
Would it be easier to give the ones that we like the top three?
Okay,
You're getting a pretty good pattern going on here.
yeah, let's see what Jeff has.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not gonna add any more?
Well, they're all pretty well marked.
Okay.
Which ones don't you like?
Everyone's got an X, but
Okay.
that's what you're asking. So.
All right, my turn.
Okay.
Okay. I actually, when this came up, because this came up in a packet a couple of weeks, what?
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago,
Yeah.
right? So I had my family sitting there. I'm just kind of thumbing on my phone. I'm like, oh. So I took a little consensus here. So I'm giving
This is
more
a
than,
straw poll.
this is a straw poll. Follow the mayor's lead and take out all the train ones.
Okay.
Okay,
That was a straw poll from.
the Carter family.
Yep.
Okay.
That's- I think it was a Sunday night too.
So my three least desirable are Whistle, Trackside and Roll By, but if you look at the other two that are train, I'm not, I tend to agree that with the other two comments there that I'm not excited about the train ones.
What about these two? They're kind of generic. Let me just, Morgan City Plaza
Yeah, that's. pretty-
and Morgan Historic Plaza. Do you like that because it's generic? Or are you saying it's nothing special, it's not?
The reason I don't like Commercial Square or Morgan City Plaza, to me, if that's for that very reason, it just seems a little generic to me,
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever, I mean, you refer to it, would you ever refer to it as Morgan City Plaza? You just,
No.
we'd all cut that down and just be like,
Plaza.
Plaza.
Might all go to the park.
yeah.
I mean, you take Plaza, I like your suggestions there, Jake, on Court Square or Courtyard, a front street court or a front street courtyard. It would have maybe a little better ring than just Plaza.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings here, gentlemen, but nobody's too big on the railroad theme. You're not gonna hurt my feelings
No.
here.
And I can see where they came from, though. I mean, that is part of our heritage for sure.
It's a large part. of
And
our-
if there was something that maybe just hit the spot, but these don't seem they don't seem long lasting to me. They don't seem like, 30 years from now, we'll be still using that. Where if it were a little more generic, Morgan Historic Court or Morgan Heritage, Square's a good one. I think some of those might be around for a longer term.
What if we sell the naming rights and make some money, the Milk Barn Plaza?
There's a little,
The naming.
there was some talk of that in the very first planning meeting, that they would sell it commercially, that we would sell it commercially.
The Tractor Supply Plaza.
Bingo. Young Heritage Court,
The Morgan Heritage Square with some of the city and the county meetings that I attend, we've been trying to, instead of separating it, blend it where it's Morgan Valley.
Oh.
Instead of calling it Morgan
City.
City,
Yeah.
Morgan County.
They should work on that one.
Yeah, that rings good to me.
What's that?
Morgan Heritage Square.
I don't hate that. I don't hate.
What about a court, a Morgan Heritage?
Just trying to, when I came up with that, I was just trying to think back like the past and how could we actually represent that, and that's why I came up with heritage.
Of the 6 railroad ones, we a railroad themed one for the community to look at.
Well, then you've got more than 5. Tied.
Yeah. Well,
You need a legal opinion on these things? or just
home.
roll?
Your way home, Gary.
Roll by, Gary.
I'll be excited to see what you come up with.
Yeah.
We're okay though, right, Gary? We aren't gonna get in any trouble?
None at all on this one.
Do we have a closed session?
Thank you. Safe.
Don't we have a closed session?
No.
No.
It was,
Oh, wait,
it was listed on the agenda.
We don't need it. We don't need it after all.
Okay.
Do we not need it like that? Not?
We're not, yeah, Ty says we don't need it.
So, the property, we bought the property we were gonna talk about. I'm just kidding.
Oh, do you want to ratify it or not?
Yeah, no, anyway, there was a couple properties, but the issue kind of resolved itself.
Okay.
So, okay. So the benefit of not having a meeting, if you give it enough time, some things take care of themselves.
okay.
Which yard might be popular with kids? It's kind of unique and fun. They might be like, well, what's a switch yard, you know, and kind of offers an opportunity.
Although Switchyard really never was part of, I mean,
It wasn't a switch
part
yard.
of Morgan. If you were in Evanston, by all means, they've been redoing the building, you know, the Switchyard building. It's been renewed or remodeled.
Okay.
Yeah, there you, yeah, Mayor. Yeah, you think back to those days, that was something, wasn't it? I mean,
It was a big deal back in the day.
yeah, did you hear they're going bankrupt? Out of business. We're talking about the Del Monte factory there, where
Oh.
the Morgan Valley Metal is, that was, at one time, that was a.
Sad. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just, you think back on some of the history and stuff that's been here, you know, I don't know. I guess,
Grab an extra joy, Tony, please.
So people like Front Street, that's certainly one that we're hearing, right?
Yeah, we beat this horse.
Yeah, we like Front
Yeah,
Street.
let's,
yeah,
what do we want to put? How many?
5, he said.
5?
Whatever you can live with is my advice. Don't put anything out there that you don't want them to not choose.
You could do the Morgan Historic Plaza, because that's somewhat like the Morgan Heritage Square that I suggested.
Yeah.
That's pretty close, I mean,
Include that one.
you can include that one, Jake, there's your 3.
Whistle stop.
Railroad ones, I could live with trackside because it is trackside.
Yeah,
There you go.
We are
Yeah.
trackside.
if we threw a railroad in, that'd be the one, wouldn't it?
That would be the one that fits the best with
Yeah, let's
me.
put that one on.
Because you walk through the building and you're on the side of the tracks.
Yep.
And if you take 5 steps, you're on their property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you park on that side of the road.
Unless. If we do the train viewing park, that would actually be trackside.
That's
Trackside park.
We could reserve that one for,
Oh,
we don't have to do a public process. We could just name that one.
I think that's cool. That's
Okay.
fun. We wouldn't do a plaza though, that's for sure. So
I heard you guys, well, I left the room, but then I came back and heard you guys were talking about more of a long-term perspective. Something that'll last. So I was gonna suggest pain in my ass,
That's short term.
but that's really short-term. It will be amazing when it's done. I'm just thinking of, I'm just thinking of this week.
No, yeah. You did catch that, right?
Oh, sorry.
if you were gonna do a rail, which one do you think could you live with, assuming we took trackside for the?
You say a rail is Silver Rail, I think you could maybe get away with.
Although Ty, what's really cool about that is the caboose part. So I don't know. I like the caboose park. Or that one.
Yeah, just put it out there.
Okay.
I'd watch that.
Golden Spike Arena.
Does anybody, speaking of the caboose over there, we went through all, does that get used?
Quite a photo spot.
Yeah.
People take pictures.
Not open.
They take pictures on it, but other than that, that's about.
I see people closing on it.
Huh.
Okay, let's,
That it?
Let's-
We go with these four? Do you like the idea of people ranking their favorite to least favorite? Or picking one that they like the most? How would you like us to ask the question?
Pick your favorite.
pick your favorite, and then whoever gets the most
Okay,
wins.
they get one vote then. We put the four out, one vote.
Okay.
And maybe we have a comment box just to hear what people say and it'll be funny, weird comments.
Yeah. I mean, could there be, I guess, something out there that just hits the spot, is spot on or something that nobody's ever thought of?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking with the comment box.
Yeah.
If we have an open comment, then somebody gives us a name and
Mhm.
And I think what we'll just say is Morgan City is seeking input on the plaza, the square, and here are four names. And maybe as a staff, we look at these and see what's the right fit, Is it really Front Street Plaza or is it core or
Yeah.
square or something? Kind of fine tune that idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think just, I mean, plaza is used a lot where the core to the square, in my mind enhances it a bit.
Yeah,
I
and
might consider
it's
that.
more open and
Mhm.
bigger.
Sure. A gathering place, a meeting place.
Yeah.
Courtyard,
So we got,
courtyard by Morgan.
Sounds like a hotel.
Yeah. It's a
Got the
definite.
hotel chain there,
Comfort
Dak.
courtyard.
okay,
So naming rights.
so we got the top four choices, right?
Plus a comment. Spot.
Let's move on. Is there,
What's that?
council, is there any reports that we have? Any reports from the council? Any comments?
I don't.
Park looks good,
Looks way good.
does. Cemeteries look.
And it's got little guys and gals playing baseball there. It's awesome. The only thing we're missing is the Grand Slam. Not cooking.
We,
Not me. Okay,
have we approached anybody on helping with that Riverside Park baseball diamond? Have we, I mean, I was thinking of that the other day. I mean,
Yeah.
is that something you could go to, say, a Wasatch Peaks with or something and say, hey, could you
We
give
have-
us a hand with this or?
We applied for a grant and did not get the grant to do lighting in the infield park, but one of the most successful things from the past is when the parents got involved or the league got behind it. So right now we have a comp league that is using it. They're not reserving it or paying, but in fact, we got some complaints that they had to drag their own field, but everywhere else they play, they have to pay. We just don't do that, but I think with just the parent interest and stuff like that, it's coming along.
Thank you, Jake. No,
That's essentially who built that building back in the day was parents. It was not
Yeah.
built by any public, entity, so.
Yeah, so I think just its popularity will grow. The main thing is if we just decide to do lighting.
I was over there, the reason was I stopped by the other day when they was playing a game and I had so many comments from people about, we'd like to come up here, we'd like to play here, we'd like to come up and play. We'd like to play into the evening if we could, but
Mhm.
anyway, I just was wondering if there was.
It's one of those things that it's just not a big enough need to request it. I think the grant would be nice, but that was to replace the dirt and everything but we could just add lighting to one of our
Can we apply again eventually?
Who did we apply with?
Office of Outdoor Recreation,
In state of Utah.
state of Utah.
So that might be an option down the road.
Yeah, we could try again.
We could try again, okay.
Okay,
They probably rank like most of them do. Is there any way to enhance that ranking?
Not really.
Pretty much part.
I felt pretty good about our applications.
Nobody uses.
hey, Ty.
Just a couple project updates, the West Young Street project, the water service lines are pretty much done this week, so we just in a week or two, we'll have the leveling course and the overlay done, so we're a couple weeks out from that project being wrapped up.
By the way, that was brilliant to change those out while we're in this part of the, good call, Ty, or whoever did that. Good call.
Well,
That was,
it was a water leak. So we had a water leak on an adjacent road that anyway, but to go identify which ones were 60-year-old lines that worked. And it added $86,000 to the project, which wasn't a ton when,
that's a,
That's more than I thought it would be.
that's a whole lot cheaper than us, having a brand new road and digging it up.
yeah, so that's good. That project's underway. The commercial street or the alley yet to be named. Project's underway and it's going well. We're doing a brand new sewer line and replacing sewer laterals and relocating them so they'll be in the clean outs and all that.
Good.
And into the road, just dealing with individual issues as they come up. So
What are they doing over by the dance shack today?
what's that?
Over by the dance shack, you know, over there across from the bowling alley? What are they, what
That's probably part of the,
are they digging up that, what are they digging there?
that's where our State Street power project ends up. That's
Is
the end of it. So it goes from there down 250 and behind the park.
Okay.
Down State Street, down, and then across the State Street to 400 East. It goes clear to Tips, so it's a pretty big project, but that's where
All part of that project.
it ends, yeah.
The lot there that Lance Crowther owns, that's just for staging?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so Hunt worked that out with him to use it as a staging area. And so, yeah, you'll,
Took the weeds out.
Looks way better than the weeds.
yeah,
The equipment there, it looks better,
we,
doesn't it?
we keep getting comments about what's being built there and everything.
Oh, I get asked that by everybody in my neighborhood. What are they building? Nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I get that a lot too. What are they building? What are they putting there?
Yep.
Nothing.
I'm a Chuck E. Cheese.
So, yeah, and that's the update on our power project is the agreement that we just signed, so. The Utah League of Cities and Towns registration's open, so if you want to go to that conference, just let Laurie know. She's doing the registrations. We just sold 2 vehicles. One was a Chevy truck and the other one was a Yukon. One of them the truck we sold for 3,000 more than we bought it for, and the Yukon, we sold it for 4,000 less than we bought it for, so it kind of averaged out to
Yeah, but still.
we have two new trucks on order. The prices have gone up, but one of them's the one I'm gonna drive is an AT4 GMC. So you might get comments about how well the city's doing financially. And according to resale, we're doing pretty good.
Good.
The other one's an F-350. But GMC had the deepest discount this time,
I mean, even with
more so than Chevy.
markets changing overall, since we started the program, we've made more money than we've given up on those.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
Okay.
The one truck, so just an idea of the difference between a fancy versus a stripped down truck. I don't know if you remember the white Chevy that I had. And that's kind of the option is when you get a fancy one like that and you don't have any dents or dings or anything,
and resell it with, 20 to 30,000 miles on it. It really does well. Anyway, that white truck, we sold it for 12,000 more than we paid for it.
Hmm.
And that was kind of a weird time during COVID and
Just a strange market was.
strange market at the time, but the program's holding its own, so.
Good.
Good.
But we're not buying new tires for any of them, are we?
We did.
Oh,
We bought a
did?
set of tires on the Yukon that we just sold.
Oh,
So it's very last trip from Cedar City. Teresa hit a big piece of metal, and when we took it in, it had 33,000 miles on it. And so when they took it in, they're like, we can't repair the tire, and if we sell you one, we gotta sell you four. And so we did end up buying our one set of tires over the last 4 years or however long it's been. But it helped us sell brand new tires.
Yep.
Well, that's all my updates, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
And I just-
Okay, well,
Thanks for all your support.
let's adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, appreciate the time.
all the damn crap you have to put up with.
What's that?
And all the damn crap you.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about that. Are we done recording?
Yeah, make sure we're all turned off, right?
So I had a resident come in, just hop in my hand, she was cussing up a storm and